Jag minns ju den tid du gav mig life billar yo. Nu vill jag kunna ge tillbaka allt jag inte kunna ge förut. Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för det baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Det kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig. Kommer aldrig känna så här för någon annan än dig. Förstå. Ser det som ett allt, det är dig jag vill wipa. De här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig. Och det jag lägger all min tid och jag vill ha det. Du får mig känna safety. Det kan nog leda baby. Och jag kommer aldrig ändra mig. Aldrig. Kommer aldrig känna så här för någon annan än dig. Aldrig. Kommer aldrig känna så här för någon annan än dig. Jag vet det bara life om igen och jag vet det bara ta sin tid. Jag vet det bara life om igen och stay with me. Jag vet det bara life om igen och jag vet det bara ta sin tid. Jag vet det bara life om igen och stay with me. Du lägger till, du är där för mig. Jag svär mitt liv kretsar runt dig baby. Du bär på mina bebek så allt när jag visionerar vår framtid. Låt mig hålla dig baby. Hey, yeah. Kommer aldrig känna så här för någon annan än dig. Aldrig. Kommer aldrig känna så här.
NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivey know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team and I chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real, jumping like hopscotch. Nobody harder than no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? John be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivey, so superlative like a bag of Drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Good morning, shoppers. Welcome back to the last honest place in America. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are allowed, scratch that, men are expected to be men. And of course, lames get their planes shot down like John McCain, the wise words of Jay Electronica. Good morning to you. On today's show, I want to talk about humans worse than COVID. Now, that's sort of like my week in review type of thing. And I'm going to use that as a springboard to talk about multiple things. All right. But the core of it will be humans worse than COVID. And we'll be talking about a lot of different stuff. I also want to talk about a very interesting article that I read in CNN about Americans' habits as it relates to getting married and having sex. I want to talk about that this morning. It came out about a few days ago, and I had a conversation with a female friend of mine. I thought it was interesting, so I want to bring it to the conversation this morning. Speaking of conversation, this is a fully interactive talk show, and if you would like to share your thoughts, you can do so by simply dialing this number, 513-873-7134. Again, 513-873-7134. If you'd like to share your thoughts, I believe it's on the screen right now. You can check it out. And I'll take the cover off and you can see the live stream just in a second. But please take a second to share this show because, I want to reiterate what our mission is. Our mission is to amplify Black voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. And we're not alone in that mission. I 100% support that because I still believe even more strongly today that having control over our narratives is key to building our Black Wall Street or rebuilding, our place in society. It's very, very important. And we're right there doing that work. And if that's something you think you can get into, great. And perhaps you like this show. I like Nate. I don't always agree with him, but I like him. He's a bit of an asshole. He's arrogant. And to that, I'd say you might be right about that. I got some days when I'm in my arrogant bags, for sure. We need more arrogant Black men. I'm wrong with that. Am I an asshole? Well, I'm a Virgo. Virgos are not assholes. We're just Virgos. I'm just a Virgo doing Virgo type of things. All right. The most superlative Virgo on planet Earth. When Michael Jackson died, I stepped up. It's me, then Beyonce, and everybody else. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. And man, we had some great conversations this past week. Some really good, interesting conversations. And that's what I hope you get out of the show. What I hope you get out of it is interesting text. I want you to learn something. And here locally, I want you, this is sort of like that under channel. We're kind of like that undercurrent, like that back channel. You know what I'm saying? People know we out here. They may not always listen, but they definitely respect what we're doing. And if you want to know what's going on with the local situation in Cincinnati, especially as it relates to Black folks that live in Cincinnati, this is the place to be. So good morning to you. Speaking of which, I've got some news along that line as well that we got to talk about as it relates to home ownership and who's buying the properties in Cincinnati. We got some major issues. We're not going to solve all that. I'm not here to tell you I'm going to solve all the great issues of today. We ain't going to do that. Every once in a while, we right there, right when we need to be. Yes, that's happened before. But this is a place for conversation. It's a court of public opinion. I want to know how you feel. I want you to share with me your unique experience. Whether you believe it or not, you have something special to share. That's your unique experience. You know what I'm saying? Like the time you spent living is a unique experience. Share it with us. Share it with us from time to time. Like, I get it. Every topic is not for everybody. It's funny. I see people leaving things like, I guess I'm going to leave. Y'all not talking about what I want to talk about. Okay. That don't bother me in the least. That's a part of this. That's a part of it. But I appreciate you stopping by from time to time and checking out the show. I'll say it again. It's a waste of time, but okay. It is what it is. Good morning to you. As you speak right now, you might be looking like, damn, where's Nate? This is my home sort of office studio space. This is just a room in my home that I converted into an office. And it was already that way before COVID. But after COVID, I'm like, this is it. This is where I do what I do. And sometimes you'll get a chance to peep into my world. From time to time, my children or even the wifey might come in and say hello. I mean, I'm at home. It is what it is. I'm going to change this for next week. Just because I had a little incident that happened this week, and I want to make sure that I know who's in the room because I might be looking at anything. I am a grown ass man, and I do grown ass man things. I am a heterosexual black man. I know that's offensive. You know what I'm saying? But I likes the women's. That's what I'm into. You know what I'm saying? So I might be looking at anything on my computer. Don't worry about it. Saying, but Sonny almost caught me this week. I ain't had no feelings about it. I'm at home. It's my house. You got to fit in with me. But I don't want to scar the boy. He's too young for that. And I told the story this week about how my father, man, the first time I saw the honeypot, my dad, he's like, look at this. What is this nasty looking thing? But I was a kid. I was like 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? But that's what started my career. I blame Pops. I blame Pops. Akeem writes, grant yourself grace, Nate. Psh. Man, Akeem, listen. One thing about me is I'm definitely going to give me grace. That's for sure. I'm definitely going to give me some grace. Absolutely. 100%. But just for folks that might be typing in for the first time in a long time, I want to set the table for you. 513-873-7134. Everybody looking so great. Look at FG. And what up, Dee? What up, Regina? What up, Tiffany? What up, Akeem? What's up, Eloise? Elo's in the house. Brenda writes, good morning. Janice is in the house. David's in the house. Kevin's in the house. Anthony's in the house. What's up, Anthony? Appreciate you, bro. What up, Kev? Dee's in the house. Good to see everybody. What is on your mind this morning? You know, I'll be honest with you. Our conversation, this doesn't always happen, but from time to time it does. Thank you for the share, FG. I appreciate it. I just kind of was thinking about the conversation we had yesterday with the father. And man, it's rare, but boy, were so many people in the chop shop wrong yesterday. It's rare. Because typically y'all be on point, but yesterday, woo! And that Tracy from Cincinnati, oh my gosh. I went back and watched it and listened to and watched that particular portion. Oh, she was so wrong. She was so wrong. That black man had one job for his daughter, get her to school. That's it. He couldn't even do that. Y'all in here in y'all feelings. I ain't gonna be disrespected. You ain't gonna disrespect me. I ain't gonna have it. And then you'll go to your job and eat big old bags of ish all day long. Keep your mouth shut, won't say a thing. Kids say something a little out of order, you want to go all the way there. I flip that. You know what I'm saying? I give the people in this house all the latitude and grace. If I'm going to flip, it's going to be on some mofos that ain't here. That's who I'm flipping on, but I get it. You know what I'm saying? You got to play the game. I was just really oh, man. Janice writes, a heterosexual black man is music to a heterosexual black woman. Here on that. You know, because in some spaces, they call that toxic masculinity and all this other kind of stuff. Tracy writes, how are people wrong for their own opinion? Oh, don't try to get all heavy with it, Tracy. God darn it. I'm going to say some lame stuff because I'm trying not to curse, and my brain's just not fast enough to come up with something cool to say. So I'm going to say stuff like, gosh darn it. But gosh darn it, Tracy, don't be all super serious. I'm joking with you. Now, you was wrong now. Don't make no doubt about it. You was dead wrong. But like you said, it's the court of public opinion. I'm just sharing my opinion. Ain't nothing super heavy. You know, I got nothing but love for you. And I do not want the claws, Tracy. So keep them keep the claws up in there. We don't want to see no claws. I know you got them. But man, oh my God, disrespect me. And I'm like, disrespect? She's 5. She's 7. Come on, people. It ain't that serious. Tracy writes, you probably should go back and read the comments. Sounds like you were wrong, not me. Oh my God. I told you, put the fangs up. Take the little Freddy Krueger fangs, fold them back up into the little retractable housing. I don't want the fangs this morning. I'm just saying. Damn it. I mean, darn it. Getting all serious. Brandy writes, good morning. Professional Reimbursement Network. Good morning, Renee. She writes, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Good to see you. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Yeah, we made it. Tracy writes, it's Fang Friday. Is it? Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. Oh, my God. I've created something here. Let me see if I can get myself out of this. Let me see. Damn it. Oh, man. Nikki writes, spicy. Glenn writes, hashtag Flo Debo. That's funny. You're Flo Debo. I'm Flo Sinatra. Janice writes, Nate, yesterday you were 100% right. Thank you, Janice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know. Not that it's ever really about that. I'm just having some talk radio fun with the audience. That's it. A little bit of talk radio fun. Believe me. Believe me, I'm just having fun with it. There really is no right and wrong. It's just really an opinion. Y'all was wrong, but it's really just about an opinion. You know what I'm saying? And those are the best conversations that I really enjoy. Because I like the conversations that apply to everybody. And we had some of those conversations this week. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, feel free to do so. We've been contemplating maybe trying to get up to Cleveland. The in-laws is up in there. Their wifey might have a hookup or something like that. They got the all-star break up there. Cleveland's not that far away. With 3.5, 4 hours, boom, you right there. Anybody thinking about going up to Cleveland for the all-star weekend? I'd just like to know. I'm just always curious about the consumption habits of the audience. And to be honest with you, that's a natural curiosity. But from like a selling the podcast standpoint, that's critical information, because when I can go to potential advertisers or partners and say, hey, listen, here are some of the consumption trends of my audience. Well, you can fill in the blanks. So I asked that for 2 reasons. Kathy writes, good morning, all. Rachel writes, hey, happy Friday. Carmelita writes, nah, it's cold. So she says no, huh? Let me put the chat up there as an overlay. I'll just put the chat up there and it can just be on the screen. I don't do that a lot, but so any new comments will come. Hey, what's up, Roots? That way everybody can see it, because sometimes I might forget to actually manually, I'm not sure what the word is, but to put somebody's, message on the screen like this right here. But if we just do it automatically, that means everybody's, now there's a double-edged sword to that, but that means that everybody's comments, and again, I don't really care. I mean, everybody's in here good people. I mean, whatever your comment is, doesn't really bother me at all. Brian writes, morning, hashtag GSW, hashtag Who Day. I'm with you on that. Lots of fun, man. I will say the Bengals gave us a lot of fun. They gave us a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I can honestly tell you that I enjoyed watching the games. And again, I'm somebody who stopped watching the games for 2 reasons, and I'm still torn. I'm still torn about the NFL. I'm still torn about whether I should support the NFL or not, and I want to bring that conversation back up. I told you I would. I knew that before the Super Bowl. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that shit. Hell no, we're going to watch the Super Bowl, but now that the Super Bowl is over with, I want to come back to that and just ask you, here we are as Black conscious people, many of us, intelligent, all of us intelligent people. I say Black because that's the majority of the audience, but we got folks that run the gamut. Everybody is welcome. You know what I'm saying? But as a Black man, race is a part of the conversation. It's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just my style. It's just my roots. It's what's important right now. And so I won't shy away from those conversations, and I won't shy away from it being racially charged. It is what it is. I don't make this up. I don't decide. I mean, the world dictates on some levels, to some degree what we talk about. But I know there's some people that feel sensitive about that. And it is what it is. There might be some episodes you really into, other episodes you're not so much. I totally understand it. Totally get it. Like, even with some of my favorite shows, they have an episode here or there. I'm like, Like, I love me some Game of Thrones, but that last season was crap. But I still love me some Game of Thrones, though. But that last season was crap. Oh, it was so bad. Anyway. Good morning to you. I see Drops in the house. What's up, brother? Yeah, man. Listen, for all the choppers, make sure you let people know what you're doing, man. Like I said, I mean, we do this thing together. So if you're doing a podcast, something like that, Choppers support Choppers. Y'all support me. I support you. So put a link in there, especially on a Friday. We'll do that on Fridays. Let people know what you're doing. If you're doing a podcast or something, let people know. You know what I'm saying? Because the Choppers will support you perhaps, or they'll at least give you a chance. And I want to support you because people have certainly supported me. Micah writes, oh, should have just jumped. She writes, good morning, Choppers. Happy Friday. Did y'all see Jamar Chase working at Raising Cane's in Anderson Township? I did. I thought it was cool. Like I said, all this Bengal energy, man. Look. I am an intelligent man, and I cannot stop thinking just because other people want to have fun. All right. So I got my issues with the NFL, which I'll reiterate today, and we'll talk about it, and I'll make my own personal decisions. Stepping away from that, I thought that what the Bengals brought with their Super Bowl run was exactly what we needed in Cincinnati, right? Just to step away from the nonsense and the politics and the evictions and the foreclosures and the disparities and the this and the that, and just have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Just enjoy sports. Just enjoy sports. And I saw black people and white people, all kind of people with their Bengals jerseys on, man. That's exactly what we needed. So I did see that. I saw Jamar Chase. I love it. You know, anytime that the Bengals are out and interacting and people are having fun and they're having a good time, that's exactly what we need, because everybody's sick of wearing a damn mask. Everybody's sick of the omnipresent threat of being sick from COVID. We're tired of all of that, right? I know I am. And so I can only imagine that you probably feel similarly. And so, just some mindless disengagement, just enjoying your team or the Bengals just play a damn game. I found it to be refreshing and a lot of fun. So, that's what they bring to the region. Now, I will say, though, and I brought this up to Alicia Reese, and she admitted this ain't the time for that. She ain't really had a conversation, but I have to do my job. It was something I wanted to put out there. And I asked her, like, look, we know that the Bengals contract is going to be expiring. And so if you live in Hamilton County, let me make a statement here, and you tell me whether you agree or disagree. Previous to this Super Bowl run, I believe that most people that live in Cincinnati/Hamilton County wanted the city leaders to take a real strong approach in terms of snatching back some of our dollars and taking away some of the responsibilities that we have to pay in order to upkeep Paul Brown Stadium and having an NFL franchise here. That's what I believe prior to the Super Bowl run. Now, I don't think people feel that way. And I'm wondering how that, and if that, is going to impact the upcoming negotiations between the county commissioners, city leaders, and also the Bengals. Because now the Bengals can walk in and say, look, we winners. You know what I'm saying? Look at what we did for the city. And it's hard to deny that. Now, can they guarantee that every single year? No. But is once every 33 years worth what we have to pay for every single year to upkeep and maintain an NFL stadium and therefore an NFL team here? That's what the question is, right? Let's say the Bengals do this once every 20 years. Is that worth the annual investment that we as Hamilton Countyans make? Is what they bring to the table that valuable? Again, I think it's something we should all be considering. And I think the conversation has changed. It's certainly changed, since the Bengals did what they did. So good morning to you. This morning, humans worse than COVID. I want to talk about a very troubling video that I saw coming from New Jersey, where you had two teenagers got into a fight. One was a little bigger, and I think a little older than the other teenager. And it was in a mall. Police show up, and what they did next has a lot of people scratching their head. And it has the governor of that particular state going on social media saying they've got a real problem with what they saw as well. And I'll give you the details if you're not hip to it in just a second. Just another example of humans worse than COVID, but we'll get to it. Nikki writes, no, that's not enough. Well, and I appreciate that, Nikki, but I wonder how the majority of Hamilton Countyans and Cincinnatians feel now, because everybody loving them Bengals now. Everybody loving them some Joe Thorough. Everybody loving Jamar Chase, man. Jamar Chase show up at your job, just walking past, people be excited. That man's a star. He's a star. Any of the Bengals show up, they get nothing but love wherever they go. Free haircuts, free this, free that, and they wealthy. They can pay for it themselves. That's the paradox of America. It seems that wealthy people pay less for certain things, right? They get a lot of shit free. Or at least celebrities anyway. Joe Burrow showed up at your job. Like, wait a minute, Joe Burrow's outside signing autographs. Mofos will run outside like little kids. It's just fun. I wouldn't do that. It's just fun. It's just fun. And I don't think anybody wants the Bengals to go anywhere at this particular time. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself, and we'll have this conversation, when we need to have it. But right now, let me go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Drop? Stranger? Now, you don't call me a couple of days and people be like, where's Drop at?
Come on, Mr. Ivey. You know I am very insignificant when it comes to the Nathan Ivey Show. I play no role at all in the daily ups and downs of the Nathan Ivey Show. I am just a listener from California.
I mean,
so,
I run this. No doubt about this. I run this.
What?
No doubt about it. I maintain this. But come on, man.
Right.
People love to hate you. You know that.
Yeah, but Mr. Ivey, I go off of your vibe. I go how you're flowing. If I don't feel your flow, I'm not going to interrupt your show. Because I don't want to mess up your show.
And I feel that about you, man. I feel that about you. But what's in your mind, brother?
Come on, Mr. Ivey. Come on. We have that cosmic connection.
Yeah, I feel it.
And from day one, we have never collaborated. I've just been a lifelong talk radio listener. I know how talk radio goes. I know how hosts do their thing. And like I said, Mr. Ivey, I'm not going to mess up your flow. So anyway, thank you for taking my call, Mr. Ivey. But the reason that I call, if you'll allow me, is to talk about the Brian Flores versus the NFL case. Now, of course, you know that Al Sharpton and Mark Muriel of the Urban League and a representative from the NAACP, a representative from the clergy are now speaking to the NFL and the commissioner on behalf of the Brian Flores team. And yet, I think earlier this week, the NFL hired a law firm where the former first Black female Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, is a partner. And her name came up as one of the new attorneys that will be involved in this Brian Flores lawsuit. And of course, Black social media, they lost their damn mind calling that Black woman, that strong Black woman, calling her a sellout. So again, Mr. Ivey, like I said from the very beginning, this Brian Flores case was almost identical to the Colin Kaepernick case. It is now clearly a money grab. Loretta Lynch and her law firm will probably give Brian Flores an offer he can't refuse. This case will never see a courtroom. And it's like I said, I don't have a problem with anybody getting paid. Colin Kaepernick, Coach Flores, get your damn money. But when you do it on the backs of Black people and the struggle that we've been through in this country ever since we've been here, it's sad and it is pathetic how Black people will use. Mr. Ivey, Black people get used all the time. Al Sharpton is threatening the NFL because
is using people. What are you trying to say about Brian Flores? And number one, and real quick sidebar, you brought up Loretta Lynch. Well, I want to talk about her. Is she a human worse than COVID? Is she a sellout? I want to talk about her this morning. So I'm glad you brought her up. But Brian Flores.
Well,
I mean, because a lot of people are saying she is. I saw it too, that she was a sellout. And if that's me, I'm like, why would this Black woman take this case to defend the NFL?
Well, again, Mr. Ivey, that's what I said in the beginning. They're playing the race card. You know why the NFL hired her. Brian Flores. And the NFL is not going to stand by and get strong armed by the likes of the race hustlers of Al Sharpton and other people.
What does Al Sharpton have to do with Brian Flores' lawsuit?
He's part of it.
How's he part of it?
He spoke on behalf of the Flores team when he went and spoke to the commissioner and threatened him before the Super Bowl. He was on MSNBC. It came out of Al Sharpton's mouth. He said, "You're going to have a good Super Bowl this year, but if you don't do what we say, you ain't going to have a good Super Bowl next year."
Okay.
So we know what that means.
Okay.
That's extortion.
That, but if that's in fact true,
I
understand why you brought him up now. I understand.
Okay. All right. Because it's out there.
But
and I've had a couple of Twitter spaces
Brian
on
Flores is completely wrong. I said this to you before. You brought this up when you was doing your spaces. I don't understand how he's playing the race card when he's a black
I had one last night.
He's a black man who feels
right.
as if he's been discriminated against. How is that?
Right.
You had other black coaches, at least one, Hugh Jackson, came out and said, you know what? A lot of the stuff that he said, it rings true to my experience true. How is he playing the race card?
Because Hugh Jackson levied the same allegations against the Cleveland Browns. He said almost the exact same thing, except he didn't say they offered him cash, but he said the same thing.
Okay, so,
and then when they fired his ass, when they fired him, he took him, he challenged it. He went to the league, and the league, they went to arbitration. And Hugh Jackson lost his arbitration case. So Brian Flores allegations
with the Raiders or something like that?
No, when he was with Cleveland.
He was with Cleveland. Okay.
Yes,
did he ever coach for the Raiders at all? Am I wrong about that?
Yes. The Raiders. Yes, a couple of coaches reached out to him after he filed the suit against the NFL, and it went to arbitration. Because if you look at the Al Sharpton tape, he brought up arbitration as well. He said, he threatened the NFL. He's like, "No, we ain't going to no long and lengthy arbitration."
Yes, brother, but can I just say something to you?
So again, Mr. Ivey, it's all out there. It's fact. I'm always willing to listen, Mr. Ivey.
The way you're looking at this, I think is all wrong. If anybody's playing the race card, it's the NFL, because they went out and got a black face to be the legal defense and public spokesperson. And to defend them in a case that involves race. Their reaction is the race card.
Exactly.
In my opinion, in this country, with our history, when a black person has a legitimate concern or a legitimate case to be made about racial discrimination, that's never the race card. That's not the
But in this case,
but
Mr. Ivey, in this case, this is the wrong black man. That's why I said he's playing the race card, because I'll give you a perfect example of the right. I will give you the perfect example of the right coach that should have filed the lawsuit instead of Brian Flores, who just had a job, is Eric Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy has a better case of discrimination and racism than Brian Flores, a black coach who was a 30-some-year-old offensive coordinator for Hall of Fame coach Bill Belichick that got him the job and the interview through the Rooney Rule with the Miami Dolphins, and he got hired at 35.
Yeah, but you don't.
He wanted to be Mike Tomlin. If you look at the man,
get to choose
Brian Flores,
who is going to bring a case. You're like, oh, Eric Bieniemy would be a better plaintiff. So maybe he would be, but he didn't file a case. The only thing that matters is there any truth to what Brian Flores is alleging? That's the only issue. The issue is not, this guy and that guy, they could have been a better person to bring a lawsuit. That's irrelevant.
Okay, Mr. Ivey, I'm sure you play cards. You know about spades. You know about tongue, right?
I'm a card player.
Okay, so
yes.
Okay, so if you're going against a guy, right, and he plays a certain card, you're going to try to beat that card, right? Yes. So when Brian Flores played the race card, the NFL countered
the race card.
Mr. Ivey, whenever a black man, listen to me, sir, learn from your elders, Mr. Ivey, learn from your elders. I know you try to minimize my presence and my knowledge when you call me your little baby bro, which is totally disrespectful.
Yeah, you're my baby bro.
but I let you get away with it.
I mean, you older than me, but I'm the big brother, period.
Yes, I've seen way more shit than you have when it comes to race.
You're older
and let me tell you this,
but
Mr.
I'm
Ivey.
the big brother, and it's just what it is.
Okay,
little bro.
Yeah, because you got the show.
Got nothing
big
to do
bro.
with the show. I'm the
okay,
big
so
brother,
listen.
period.
Let me just close it. Let me close it up by saying this, Mr. Ivey. In our history, when a black man files a racism or discrimination lawsuit, and he hires a white law firm, Mr. Ivey, that tells you right there what the case is about. Okay? All right?
Really?
Because if he had Mr. Ivey, if he had a real case of discrimination and racism, he would have called a black prominent law firm to defend him against the white owners of the NFL and their white commissioner. So what did the NFL do? They countered Brian Flores' race card move with a black man hiring an all-white law firm to get his case through or to settle. The NFL countered by going and getting Loretta Lynch.
Well,
now remember, Mr. Ivey, before I go, Loretta Lynch's law firm. Look up her law firm.
Let me say this to
she
you,
has been involved in other current. They're involved with other NFL cases. And just, that's all I got to say.
Well, no,
because I know you're gonna disagree.
I'm not an immovable object. I'm movable, if it makes sense. And so I will say this: I think it's fair to try to interpret the move of Brian Flores and getting all white lawyers. Like if people are like, oh, he's trying to play the race card in the sense that you got this all white male owned NFL league, and then you want to go get white lawyers. That's like the same as the league getting Loretta Lynch, and she's a black woman, to be the face in defense against this black man's lawsuit. So I give you that point, maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, big bro. Thank you, big bro.
I can kind of see that. But in general, I just feel like there's a whole lot of he should have did this and he should have did that, and we don't even know whether there's anything valid in the case. If his lawsuit finds something valid, then it doesn't matter.
It's been almost a whole
whether
month.
He's the best person to bring the lawsuit or not. It doesn't really matter.
Mr. Ivey, it's been almost a whole month. He filed this lawsuit on the first day of Black History Month, and there have been no other black coaches to join him in this class action suit. There's been no other players, former coaches, no. Well,
that's not
other
true.
than the race hustler Al Sharpton.
That's not
Al
true.
Sharpton is the only one. There's nobody
that's not
else.
True. You just talked about the former coach of the Cleveland Browns, not Cleveland Bengals, but Cleveland.
He didn't join the suit.
Not yet.
He didn't join the suit.
But there's a process to this, and I'm not sure that I'm the one to fully articulate it. But there's a process to this. There's several levels to this.
And when the NFL hired the law firm that Loretta Lynch works for, that tells you right there, Mr. Ivey, it's over. Now, before I go, I got one thing to say, and I want you to. Well, I'm putting out a request. Go to Real Clear Politics and Yahoo News. President Joe Biden now has a lower approval rating and disapproval, and a higher disapproval rating than the scary orange man, the first gangster president, Donald John Trump, had at the same point in their presidency. Back in 2018,
but that's unfair comparison,
Biden is worse in 2018 after 1 year.
Brother.
Mr. Ivey, it don't matter whether it's fair or unfair. It's politics, baby.
It don't matter
and in politics, it's politics.
Right.
You know it. Come on, Mr. Ivey. Look how unfair
it don't matter
black
whether
people.
It's a fair unfair comparison. Okay, so we just gonna make up anything and say anything, and nothing else matters.
No, I see what you do.
Make it up as you go along, then, brother. If it don't matter.
No, I just gave you the evidence.
Comparison. It's an unfair comparison.
Mr. Ivey,
and it's
is it true or not?
So unfair that it has to be brought out. You cannot.
Is it true or not?
Yes, it is. Is
it true or not? Is President Biden worse than Donald Trump?
Not true.
So I told you.
It's not true.
I told you this was going to happen.
Can I tell you why, brother?
You can say whatever you want.
Is that Donald Trump didn't have to do with a COVID pandemic during his first year. Joe Biden is dealing with COVID. Joe Biden and the Biden administration has had to deal with the COVID pandemic throughout the first year. And I strongly believe that those poll numbers are being influenced by the overall sour the sour, attitudes that people have. Oh, let me turn you down. You laugh, I'm trying to talk. Is the overall sour attitudes that people have, saying, toward everything right now. So I don't really put a lot of stock in those poll numbers at this particular time. They ain't never called me. I get all kinds of phone calls from all kinds of folks. They've never called me to do a poll. And so, again, I hear what you're saying, but I think you're being unfair if you don't add that to the equation.
Okay. Well, again, immigration, the economy, foreign policy, all three of those metrics, Joe Biden has been in the 30s for the past 4 months. So on that note, it's Friday. I ain't got no job. Oh, that's right. I'm retired. And I still love the Nathan Ivey Show. Peace out, Nate. Be safe in them streets, choppers.
All right. Take it easy, brother. Appreciate him. Before we go too much further into the show, I want to remind you that today's show is brought to you in part by our friends over at Renew Community Church. They do a Sunday morning masterclass, and you can tap in on Facebook at facebook.com/Cincy Renew, and on YouTube, Renew Community Church live stream. Sunday, 11:45 a.m. This Sunday's topic: live your best life. Learn how to be your best self. That's this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. As I said, all of their master classes are focused around just providing inspiration and motivation to live your best life, to unlock your best life, to get outside your comfort zone. So if that's something you think you might be interested in, tap in this Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Brent writes, a genuine smile is more about the eyes than it's about showing teeth. I'm not sure what that is. Damn, Ash dropped some tough questions like why Trump burning them 15 boxes of files he took from Wirehouse? Like why Trump pleading the fifth if he has nothing to hide? You're right. Those are some questions. But do you notice Drop is obsessed with poll numbers? He don't want to talk about Trump. Trump was a crime boss. I said it. Many people said it. Trump was a crime boss. Everybody knew this. He was a crime boss before I'm talking about white collar crime boss, before he became president, during his presidency, and he is now. Man, they talking about Trump burning files, shredding files and handing them over to, government officials, losing files. He took a whole bunch of files down to Mar-a-Lago. And it's just so interesting because Hillary made a couple of emails and didn't use her official government email, and the world went crazy. Emails. I'm like, what? Even my mother, Chairman Mom, the dearly departed Chairman Mom. I was thinking about her a lot lately. We was talking once, and she was all into politics. She talking about that's wrong for Hillary to use her email, to use her personal email for business like that. I'm like, huh? That's when I knew that the Jedi mind tricks were strong within the Republican Party, very strong. And we don't give the Republican Party enough props, man, but their Jedi mind tricks over people that vote Republican is amazing. It really is. Like somebody should be taking notes on how to control human beings. They have it down to a science. Like any little dumb ish that they come up with, people run with it. They run with it. But again, conservative media remains far more connected and far more organized and far more focused than progressive or liberal media or even black media. Black media and progressive media ain't got nothing on the organization and the unity from conservative media. It ain't even close. They ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Trump started him a new social media network. He'll get about 50 million people at least to join up. They roll deep with Trump. Buy the t-shirts, the blankets, the koozies. They buy it all. Socks. They buy it all too. Good morning to you. Drop is a trip. Yeah, he is. Now Drop is a victim. Deshaun writes, just get to the point, narcissist. Brenda writes, where is Maze? And that's a good question. Where is Maze? I think I missed her phone call. And Maze, if I missed your phone call, I apologize to you. But I do remember she was on the line maybe last week a couple times. The show ended. I didn't get a chance to get her on. But yeah, where is Maze? Man, Drop is lying. Sharpton is not part of the lawsuit. That's why I said, I already know who I'm talking to. I already know who I'm talking to. So, and I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn about no real clear politics at this particular point. Like the day before election, something like that. Okay, then I may pay attention to it. The day of the election, maybe some post-election reporting, some numbers, some just talking with people as they leave in the polling booth and stuff like that. Okay, I'll listen to that. But at this point, everybody's sour right now. So many people are sour because of the world that we're living in, this COVID stuff and the mask mandates. People still arguing about mask mandates. It's crazy. Speaking of masks, a couple days back, I like to follow these stories. We talk about these things, and sometimes you forget them, but I like to follow these stories. So going back to, I believe it was Wednesday, we were talking about a Montessori school in Newton, Massachusetts. Did you know there was a woman named Dr. Maria Montessori, and she created that whole Montessori framework? Did you know that? Italian woman, I believe. But a Montessori school in Newton, Massachusetts has been shut down now after a preschool teacher had toddlers in blackface. Remember we talked about this? And now I've got more of the story that has come out. So the teacher attempted to costume the children in black masks to portray black people in celebration of Black History Month. We didn't have all this information, but we've got it all now. And I'd like to know whether you think that is, and I'm asking this seriously. I mean, I want to keep the conversation going. I want to provoke thought. So this is a serious question. But now that I've explained to you what the teacher was actually doing, you may or may not have known that when we initially talked about it. But her point was to honor outstanding African Americans in the country's history by asking all of the kids to make a black face. Kids, toddlers, they went and got some cheap paper plates and gave them some crayons and put faces on them. That's what they did. And they made their own black masks and then used them to pretend that their skin was dark. And that's what her focus was. That's what she was trying to do. Hold on, let me see. I think I've got it here as well. Got the image that was put out there on social media just to provoke some thought. You might or may not remember. Check this out. Here it is right here. Remember this? Now, oh man, look at this. This is wild. Like the cynical part of me, as soon as I see something like that, I'm like, oh, she knew what she was doing. She full of ish. She did that on purpose because she thought it was gonna be funny. But let me step away from my cynical nature a bit and just ask the question. So that's what she said she was trying to do. She said she wanted the kids to pretend their skin was dark to honor outstanding African Americans in the country's history. And so I'm thinking maybe we should help this teacher and other teachers out. And when I say teacher, I mean that loosely. She was an instructor at a daycare, so she wasn't like a public school teacher or a private school teacher or something like that. But clearly, some of our allies, and I say that very loosely, just need some help when it comes to coming up with good ideas on how to celebrate Black History Month. So I'm wondering if we can come up with a short list of maybe do's or don'ts. I would put this in the don't. Yeah, TNT, that was hilarious. The racist meter, ignorant racist. Is that where she is? That was funny. You got to keep that. That was funny. It's something that she started doing on the last podcast. Because our allies, our friends, I would put this in the category of no. Like, as a Black man, if you really want to honor and you want to teach toddlers about outstanding African Americans, then all you got to do, it's just so many easy ways of doing it. All you got to do is to teach them about prominent African Americans. That's all you got to do. The blackface, keep all of that. Just teach them about prominent African Americans and teach them as much as, because they're toddlers. But Demonstrate it every single day, not just during Black History Month, like every single day, right? And just simply sit down and teach them about prominent African Americans. That's all you got to do. Tell them a story. Tell them the truth. That's all you got to do. Just tell them the truth. If you really want to honor African Americans and you're dealing with toddlers, just tell them the truth. That's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's all. We ain't asking for nothing more. Just tell them the straight up truth in a way in which a toddler could get it. And then demonstrate it every single day, not just during Black History Month. That was such a god-awful idea, just an awful idea. And I try to ask myself, like, what would I do? Because, I got a tendency to go there. Like, what you see is what you get. And I can definitely be a straight up asshole when it comes to certain things. With my children, certainly. You know what I'm saying? They do not, I'm the last person they want to come see walking into my daughter's school building. Trust me, they do not want to see me in there. They don't like me. And that's great. As long as they respect me. But I'm trying to think, like, if this was my daughter, like, how would I respond to this, man? This shit right here, man. I walk in here, I will be pissed because I think I would feel as if my daughter or my child was a part of somebody's racist plot. They'd have to be fired. I don't ever want to see your ass again. That's off top. I don't never want to walk in this building and see you. I used to always think this in my head, and I might have said it to the wifey, man, but that's a very dangerous, dangerous time. When people are picking up their kids from daycare, ooh, that's such a dangerous time because a lot of times you're rushing from work, so you're like, got all the work stuff, and you're stressed out, and you're worried about how your child's going to be treated. Are they going to be all happy? Are they going to talk about being bullied or something happened during the day? They're going to have a mark on them. And then you show up, and some of the stuff in your nightmare is true. Oh my God, you subject to flip off right then and there. And they may not even deserve it. Roots Tafari writes, teachers are playing ignorant, but I bet money they are aware of critical race theory. Perhaps. But let me move on. 513-873-7134. If you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, that's the conduit to do so. Let your fingertips step in the name of digital talk radio, podcast radio. Let me talk about what happened in New Jersey, where 2 New Jersey police officers are under investigation after a video shows them seemingly showing preference to a white teen while pinning a black teen down after breaking up their fight at the mall last weekend. Let me show you a quick image here. This is going to be startling. Let you know that this is going to be startling if you don't like such kind of images. Then you might want to take a look and see if you like it, if you can stomach it, and then decide to turn away. Hold on. I want to put this image up so you can see this as I'm talking about this. And I know a lot of people have discussed this and all this other kind of stuff, and that's cool. But I want to talk about with you right here, right now. All right, let me pull this up real quick. You got to see this. You got to see it to believe it. And I'm going to try to find a video. Here it is right there. So that is the scene that was caught on a cell phone video by somebody who was just standing by. And what this image doesn't show you is I watched the whole video several times. So you see on the left-hand side there, I think you can see, well, in the background, sitting on the white or cream colored sofa, you see a white teen there. He actually started to fight with the black teenager who was shorter than him and weighed less than him. He's putting his finger and pushing all up on dude, and dude had to defend himself. They get into a little bit of a scuffle. In the video, all of a sudden from the background there, the police come rushing in. The female officer addresses the white teenager and tells him to stay, sits him down on the couch, and they both pounce on the black teenager and immediately erase him, and immediately, go through the process of arresting him. Hands behind your back, the handcuffs, the whole 9 yards. You can hear people on the cell phone video saying, oh, race. Like, wait a minute, what are they doing? It's gotten so deep that the NAACP, the state's governor, and other community leaders are now outraged. Governor Phil Murphy tweeted saying, "I'm deeply disturbed by what appears to be racially desperate treatment in this video. We're committed to increasing trust between law enforcement and the people they serve." See, things like this, when situations like this only hurt the relationship between the police and the Black community, because it's yet another example that validates the fears and concerns that Black people have about police, right? And again, I'm speaking generally, but Black people are not a monolith, so this doesn't apply to everybody. But generally speaking, I believe that I'm true. I believe that I'm right on this. And there's a lot of Black people that still look at police officers and they think, slave catchers. You're here to protect white people. And when you see something like this, it just validates those concerns. It just makes things worse. Because you look at the situation, it's like, okay, if they would have arrested both of them at the same time, we ain't got no problems. But the questions, and they should be made to answer these questions, is why'd you only focus on the Black team? Well, I thought he was the aggressor. What made you think he was the aggressor if two people are fighting? And the white dude is much bigger than the Black dude. This happened back on February the 12th, which is just 6 days ago. So it was on Saturday at the Bridgewater Commons Mall in Bridgewater Township, New Jersey. Yeah. And now people are asking for the officers to be fired. In your opinion, family, do you think how do you think these officers should be dealt with? Let me put it that way. How do you think that these two officers should be dealt with? Should they be reprimanded? Should they be reprimanded and also forced to do some type of like training, DEI or diverse, something kind of training like that? Should they be suspended? Should they be fired? Should they be terminated? For people that are familiar with this video, and I think many of you are, because I know you've been like, Nate, you gonna talk about this? And this goes back to like Wednesday or maybe even earlier in the week. But I'm talking about it right now. I want to get your thoughts about it. What do you think? How do you think these officers should be dealt with? Because something needs to happen with the officers. And I think that's the way to go. Like, that's the real question mark here. Like, what happens next? And so while not in New Jersey, we're a part of the larger extended community of Americans. And we all have a vested interest in making sure that as it relates to interactions with law enforcement, that all Americans are treated in accordance with the Constitution and also their fundamental rights. Because if you can violate the rights of somebody in New Jersey, well, then you can violate the rights of somebody in Cincinnati or Cleveland or Los Angeles or wherever you might be, Atlanta, wherever you might be, right? And then as Black people, we're generally interested in any kind of these kind of interactions with law enforcement and our children. Because if it can happen to them, it can happen to us. So we all have a vested interest in these kind of stories, in my opinion. You might feel differently. But what do you think should happen with these officers in your opinion? You tell me. Sheila writes, something needs to be done. That's crazy. And it makes me upset. Micah writes, fired and their pension should go to cover the lawsuit his parents are going to file. Regina writes, I think even the white teenager was confused because he had his hands up ready to be cuffed. Yeah, there's a comment. Quote, I even offered to get cuffed. This is from the white teenager. He was like, you gonna cuff me too? I did kind of start this. It's like, nah, you're cool. You're cool. Why am I cool? Because you're white. Clearly it's his fault. Clearly. Kashar writes, they carry weapons. If that is their level of judgment, they should not be law enforcement. That story could have had a worse ending. It could have. And good to see you, Kashara. All this Black excellence in here. I'm loving it. Daryl writes, this problem is systematic and is endemic throughout police departments across the country. So fire them does what? Well, it sets a standard. No, I disagree with you, Daryl. I mean, so is your statement they're trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you feel like if they get fired, it's like no big deal? I don't know. Within that police department, if they get fired for this, every other officer is going to make sure that they're aware of what they need to do in a similar circumstance so they don't get fired. And for the people of Bridgewater, that's what you would want, right? The other thing about it is, and y'all not going to like this, y'all going to think I'm soft a little bit. I'm not being soft. I'm just stirring the pot, keeping the conversation going. But people make mistakes. They're human. And let's say they just made a mistake. You know, they get caught up, or I guarantee what they'll probably say is, well, from what I saw, the black kids seem to be the aggressor. And then once they say that, what can you do? How can you argue against that? We see it happens all the time. But let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Fame. Good morning, brother. Welcome.
Dale Wolf. Hey, you're not watching porn with my voice, are you?
So what now?
You're not watching your skin flicks while you're listening to my voice, are you?
I don't even know what you're asking me. Am I doing what now?
Watching skin flicks. My voice.
Yeah,
While
you tripping. Call me back another day, man. You on some other shit. What did you just ask me? The dumbest shit ever? What? No, hell no. I don't even know what you was talking about, bro. Ah, my man. I was looking forward to the call. You opened the call with that dumb shit. I can't even. I think I know what you asked me, but I don't even want to go there. You tripping. Let's go to another call here. He is nuts today, boy. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's up, Nate?
What up,
Daryl?
What up, Daryl?
What's going on, man?
I'm doing well.
Hey, your last caller. This man is so weak. He's gonna talk about me behind my back. He's such a spineless nothing. He's a nothing burger, spineless. But enough of him, because I don't got time to talk about that.
Did something happen that I don't know about?
Well, somebody informed me of something. I wasn't even around, and he was talking about me while I wasn't there, and somebody informed me of the situation. And I'm like, all right. So I run across him last night because he goes by another moniker of Hacksaw Jim Thuggin. And I called him out. So I'm like, where you at, big boy? You know, man, I ain't got time for that. He didn't say nothing. He went back in this little hole like the little wolf he is. I'll break that wolf's spine. So he needs to back up.
Hopefully
Don't
we'll
talk
get
to
to
me.
That. Let's keep it rhetorical.
Huh?
So hopefully we'll get to that. Let's keep it rhetorical.
No. It's all rhetorical.
Oh, okay.
But it's all rhetorical. I don't take this stuff personal or serious. It's just the fact that he's gonna comment when I'm not around. I don't care. He calls me gay, whatever. I don't care, bruh. I don't care. But anyway, back to, because I usually don't want to waste time talking about him. I'd rather talk about the topics at hand. So what I was trying to say is we take action and fire them. But I was like, at the end of the day, I'm kind of looking at it like at the end of the day, with the whole defund the police thing is all about that got misconstrued by right-wing people. I'm of the belief you cannot reform the police system in this country. You can't reform. I mean, Nate, you cannot reform that. That was a natural reaction. You see what I'm saying? That was their first instinct. You can't reform that.
You don't think so? You don't think with some training And of course, some growing up from those particular officers. They're gonna have to mature. But you don't think with some training that they can't learn
I think
how to control those kind of impulses and that kind of bias?
I yeah, okay. So I think training's part of it, but you almost have to have years ago in Chicago, they had problems with bad teachers, and they basically did reconstitution. They purged. You basically got to purge the entire system and say, okay, and lay out the edict that this is what is acceptable. This is the standard for a police officer. This is what we're going to have, and then have people reapply for their jobs. If you could do that, I don't even think you could do that because the police unions would raise all kind of ruckus about it. So that's what I'm saying, that it's so endemic in the system that that's a culture. That's a culture thing. You can't train or retrain a culture. I mean,
I know, but you can't train behavior though. Like, you might not change what's in somebody's head or heart, but you can change how they manifest it on the job.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's a lot deeper than that. I think that incident is indicative of something a lot deeper.
I agree. They're implicit bias,
It,
or they're straight up
right.
bias.
So you think it can be trained? You think it can be handled through training and DEI courses and stuff like that?
I think it's a lot of officers, potentially and sadly, I think it's a lot of officers that harbor some racist attitudes and some bias. I think it's a lot of officers that deal with implicit bias, but they're working in police departments where they have been trained to choke that ish down, or else you got to deal with some consequences.
So how do you give it? I mean, I would imagine. I mean, I'm thinking, how do you give that teeth? Is it if your body cams not on? I'm going to a kind of a smaller. Another example with the issues of the police department. But if you don't have your body cam on at all times, that's immediate dismissal without any reconsider. You know what I'm saying? Without even debate. You're just dismissed right then and there. Is it coming at instituting rules that stringent? Like in this situation, do you think they should be fired? Because technically, by the book, did they do anything wrong? That's going to be the position of the police union.
If I'm gonna be fair about this, and I know I asked the question, so I'm going to answer, but if I had to be fair about it and give a definitive answer as to whether they should be fired or not, I would have to say that before I make that decision, I need to hear what they have to say, and I haven't heard that yet. But without that, as I sit here right now, what I can tell you is that if they are fired about that, I wouldn't be that upset. And if I was a resident of that community, I think I would like it, because it would send a message that you can make some mistakes as it relates to Black folks, and that'll cost you your job. At the very least, some time away. At the very least, some time away. There needs to be some kind of discipline action with this if they find out that they did something wrong.
So let me change the scenario a little bit, and I'm kind of in agreement with you. Something must be done, but if it was two white guys or two Black guys, same thing happened, there would be no action.
You said two white guys and two Black guys, meaning what?
I'm saying if the races were the same in that situation, there would be no action.
Yeah, if they were the same, there'd be no issue. I think the issue is that people are like, well, why are you going super hard with the Black teenager and then you're coddling the white teenager? That's what the issue is. It's the desperate treatment.
Yeah.
If they handcuff them both and I don't think they should have been arrested. To me, it's just a fight. If you're going to handcuff them, it's just for a short while. You de-escalate, you call their mamas, you send them home. It's just a fight. Nobody got
Yeah,
stabbed. It
yeah,
ain't that big a deal. People gonna fight,
right.
but you don't want
And
we don't
don't
want you
get and
fighting in the
don't
middle of the
get
mall though.
yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm with you. I'm just saying the union is going to try. They're gonna try to, they're going to protect their officers, and I'm just saying they're going to use, well, did they do anything wrong according to procedure? That's all I'm saying. But in my eyes and what we saw, yeah, that showed immediately. It showed, because I'm looking at the situation, and they already got the young. I mean, look, the younger, smaller guy, he's already the troublemaker, and he didn't even start the incident. He wasn't the aggressor. He was defending himself, and they cuffed him to the ground. I'm like, what? And they let the other guy sit. So it's kind of good that well, not good, but good in the sense that it came out, because this is a prime example of implicit bias on screen for everyone to see, and you can't deny it. And it's endemic in the police department. I just think that, I mean, training and making them go to diversity training and stuff like that will only go so far. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out how do you get rid of people with implicit. Well, there's going to be biases, but how do you get rid of people that are, there's the difference between I having a bias versus I'm just straight out racist, and I think those people are wrong. So when I come up on some black people, I'll automatically assume the negative. Whatever that mentality, that has to be eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice weekend, Nate.
Hey,
Take
you
care.
too, Daryl. Take it easy, man. Appreciate you. And him and Fan go back and forth. As long as it's all he have funny, I'm with it. Anything seriously, no. And I have no problem with my brother Fan. That's just, I don't know what he was saying. It sounded, I'm like, what the hell? And I caught bits and I got a bits and pieces of it. I'm like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. Dude, trip it. But that's my brother though. That's my brother right there. Like both those brothers. They support me, so I support them 100%. What do you think about what Daryl had to say? You agree or disagree? Now, I'm going to take a break, about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes for the break. When we come back, I'm going to share with you my personal opinion about probably one of the best black movies of all time. Okay? I'm going to hip you the game. One of the best black movies of all time. And yo, check it. You probably heard of it, if not seen it. I'm going to tell you why I think it's one of the best movies of all time. And then we're going to talk about this CNN article, because apparently they're talking about the trends in America as it relates to people getting married and people having sex. Things are changing. All right. So we'll talk about that. Hold on one second. Before we go to the break, let me go to the phones real quick. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. I wanted to jump in before you took your break to come back and talk on another topic.
Sure.
I wanted to briefly just address some of the things the dear brother just called in and said. Certainly understand frustration. I understand the apathy and believing that there isn't anything that we can do. There are multiple things that we can do. And one first is to stand up. The system has been in place for ever, the way that it is, the way that it has been designed to do what it does. And it's not just policing. They have a whole cadre of people that assist them in the continuation of the brutalization of Black people. That's who I fight for, right? So that is my focus. And one of the things that we have been able to do, and in some people's eyes, is not fast enough or quick enough or enough. And that's why we continue to attack the elephant from all sides until, dear brother, until we determine that we are valuable enough that we have our own force and that we protect ourselves. And until that system is shown to me, I'm going to continue to fight the racism that has permeated into this system, of which I pay for. So dear brother, we've been fighting this animal, attacking it, putting in place those measures to mitigate, to reduce the opportunity of the continuation of brutalization of Black people in the city of Cincinnati, and including to changing the FOP contract. It didn't make the headline, but we did some things here in Cincinnati. And of course, yes, I am going to sound it to you all so that you understand, if we collectively make these stands across this country and we utilize the tools, which is our resiliency, to continue to fight back. Our ancestors didn't get us to this point for us to just not do anything. That's not an option either. So yes, it can be done if you continue. I'm not saying to the place where we're all gonna, be saying, yeah, we trust the police. That ain't it. What I do trust is my opportunity as a taxpayer to get a return on my investment. What I do trust is the fight that I have that has been instilled in me by not just my immediate family, but my ancestors telling me, get up off my butt and do something, and to figure it out until we can get to that golden silver lining that we believe that we should have. And it should be there, rightly so. But as in people, if they want to, put their people on top of us and we don't fight back to have the same equity and fairness and transparency because we do pay for police, then that's on us, dear brother. I just want to say these three things that we did change in the contract just last year. There was a program inside of CPD that had been called peer review, and that says that peer review was the opportunity for police officers to get a discipline that had been imposed on them by the chief and or city manager by their peers, to say, hey, what they just said doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna remove that from your record. We say that you shouldn't have that. Why was that problematic? That was problematic, dear brother, because if Officer Dan, and I just sent you something on Officer Dan, if Officer Dan is a problem and an outlier, we need to know that. And if we don't know that, then we don't know how his behavior can progress up to something as horrible as we saw in New Jersey, right? It's gone. That peer review process is gone, dear brother. We changed expungement, meaning that if an officer interacts with a citizen, more specifically a Black citizen, that we wanted that interaction to stay inside of the officer's jacket, right? It was previously 3 years. The city manager's office came back and said, we are trying to negotiate that. Would you be willing to have us negotiate up to 7? To have it negotiated up to, forever, we probably won't get it. Can we get 7 years? We talked about it. We deliberated on it. We said, yes, we'll take 7 years because we believe if you've done something this year, that probably in 7 years you're going to do something else. Also, what we did was the arbitration. In this town, dear brother, we know that when officers are fired and or disciplined, they can go to arbitration and get it overturned there also. So we wanted arbitration gone. Couldn't get it gone forever, but what the city did negotiate on our behalf, based on what our data and based on our argument that we put up, was that arbitration, what we could do, because it used to be one arbiter that the FOP would go and shop out for, meaning that if dear brother Nathan was an arbitrator, which you have to be a practicing attorney and certified nationally to be an arbitrator, right? So if the FOP would come and get you, our problem in Cincinnati, and I'm speaking locally because this is where I live and this is where I pay taxes, if the FOP would go and shop for you, and we would always say, why is the arbitrator always in the FOP favor? Well, if I'm the same person getting that pay and getting this opportunity, I might favor in my belief, my favor might be in, my goals towards the police. So what we did get out of that, we got that out of 15 arbitrators, all of us would be able to select 3, and that their findings, their decisions would be anonymous. Never happened in the city of Cincinnati before. We actually had 6 points, but we got those 3. And we were proud, and it came from the young folk. We were very proud to get those 3 in because it never happened before. And on top of the policy changes that we work on every day, all tag on day long, this would support holding officers more accountable, putting in those protocols that would hold them more accountable. So when things do go awry, when they do, if they do, that you would be able to sue effectively. There are policies to support the firing of and the removal of. There is a lot of work that needs to be done in the world of policing. There's a lot of work, but we cannot not do anything. That is not an option either. Dear Brother Nathan, I just wanted to announce today, Freedom Fighting Policing in the Pandemic. We are hosting Gabe Davis. These sessions are for the community. These sessions are for you so that you understand how the Citizens Complaint Authority works. You get to hear the cases, you get to hear their findings, and you get to hear the reasons why. But the most important thing, dear Brother Nathan Ivey, you get to weigh in on how they get to these decisions. And if the case is strong enough, and if you believe that they need to take a look at and review again, our voices are loud. So if we say review that again, that can happen too. And that is how recommendations on policy changes occur also. It's a lot that we're doing in this town, trying to hold outliers inside of a department that we pay for, that we expect and demand the same treatment. But if we don't say, we don't do, we don't organize, we're not strategic, we won't have the provisions that we have today. Today at 4, Freedom Friday, Policing in the Pandemic, there are 7 cases. I'm going to already say it. Y'all know how I am about these cases and where we are. There's a severe chronic backlog that needs to be addressed right now. And so we're pushing the executive director to look at some things that he can do so that that 90-day window, the 90-day compliance is happening. So again, today at 4 o'clock, if you're interested and you want to know what's happening in your city right now, real time, in support of what the dear brother was just talking about, working to put these things in place to hold bad officers accountable, to challenge the FOP and the union and the contract. That's what we did to get some changes and the continuation of changing policy so that we save Black lives. That's what this work is all about.
Hey, Iris.
Today at 4 o'clock, you can go on my Facebook page, OJPC's Facebook page, CEAI's, and you can hear us, or you can email cbufleadersfreeworld@gmail.com for the Zoom link.
Hey, Iris,
Thank you, dear brother, for hearing me today.
before you roll, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So did you have the interim chief on?
I did. Had her on Wednesday.
Is
Yes,
there
sir.
anything noteworthy, something you can share with us that she said?
Sure. Let me say this. She's got left in her career 24 months, I do believe. And I asked her because I thought she said to me she was going to put her name in the ring for chief. But she's in that diversion retirement option policing program, the DROP program.
Uh-huh.
So she's got 24 months left.
Oh, okay.
She is the first female interim chief in the history of the police department. She comes from a line of policing. She cannot make big decisions, meaning I ask about the diversification of that line right behind her and the assistant chiefs. There 2, there should be 5, another white female and a white male. We know that Captain Pettis is waiting in the wings and she should be promoted to assistant chief. She's done her career. She's crafted it out. She would be excellent. We know that we do have another Black captain. I believe his name is Norris. Mr. Norris should be promoted in those places. So as we continue to look for chiefs in the future, they are in the pipeline. And even as captains, we still need some work and diversification around there. We talked about, since the consent decree has been pulled from the city of Cincinnati on promotions and hiring of women and Black people, what will she do? Does she support the public safety high school? What type of diversity plan is she looking at? One of our national peers was on the call, and he has studied police departments across the country and the diversity plans. He's going to send us some things that we can look at. That is huge because they don't have it. Everybody's still operating under the affirmative action plans, which from the 70s. We need some inclusion and diversity and spelled out in ranks of what we need to see. And we also need that public safety high school to go. So she told us that she would be talking with the interim city manager on her specific duties and how much power she will have. I'm trying to think. I think I said this the other day. She comes from a line of family members who were chiefs. Policing. Her father was the chief, uncle. She has a son in Boone County, a nephew on CPD. She had brothers inside of CPD. If you're familiar with the names Neville, the Neville brothers are her brothers. And let's see, she says she's learned a lot about racism from the current chiefs, and she was born and raised on the west side and went to Catholic school, Western Hills High School. She has worked with us in the small groups around gun violence, and youth across the city of Cincinnati. She's been around, dear Brother Nathan, for the entire time of the collaborative, not very vocal, been very reserved and very quiet. So that was the most I'd heard her say in espousing her ideas, her perspective. So if folk want to know who now interim police chief Fiji is, go to my Facebook page. It is there. It's up. You can hear her answer the questions. We didn't have the full 90 minutes with us because she said she hadn't informed her family that she was going to be named, and she wanted to get home to her kids and her grandkids and her husband so they could, celebrate, blah, blah, blah. But the most important thing out of all of that, dear Brother Nathan, is that the city has to have a city manager first before they can go out and find a police chief. So she will be in this position for some months, and we need to be clear about the duties. We need to be clear about how much power she will have. We need to be clear about which direction the interim city manager wants her to go in. And, we sent them our 34 points of how to police in the first 100 to 180 days of this new administration around public safety and policing, because this is what we've been doing for the past 20 years. We need to ensure that the search firm, that the vendor that the city picks, listen to me good, that the vendor is culturally competent, connected, and will include community engagement. So your voices, our voices, and not just my voice is being heard throughout both processes, city manager selection and the police chief selection. Don't get it twisted. Both of them need to understand clearly where we are, our expectations. They need to hear and read and see what you all said you wanted to see in a police chief. They need to look at our perception survey that we did, the Black community did, on what we believe, where we believe policing needs to go. And so that is incorporated in job descriptions and in performance measures, and is attached to raises, is attached to how one is evaluated. So those were our first 3 points, dear brother, and that is what we are looking at right now to ensure that we are included in all of that, each and every step of the way. If you don't do these things, then your voice will never be heard. If you don't do these things, your expectations will never be known. And you can't hold people accountable because nobody ever know what the hell you want or what you're talking about, So that is what's up first. I believe, dear brother, that won't happen until early summer of 2022 for the police chief. First thing up is city manager.
Okay.
And I thought that our new mayor said that he did say, I don't think that he did say that he was going to do a national search for a city manager as well.
Okay.
Any other questions, dear brother?
No, I appreciate your call. Appreciate the information.
I appreciate you. I appreciate Brother Daryl for getting me vexed up. Brother Daryl, if you can listen to us, I think it was Brother Daryl. If you can listen to us via Facebook, we're trying to utilize the technology. We're trying to catch up to where Nate is. He won't host us on CBM. No, I'm just joking. But we're trying to keep the community as engaged as possible. That is what the plaintiff's representation of the collaborative agreement means. Not just sitting around in the rooms in the meeting, but to come back, to infuse, to educate, to continue to talk about where we are in this city. So when people just say to me, someone said to me the other day, well, Irish, you're an activist. No, I'm a taxpayer. And so I want you to understand why I am at the table. I'm a taxpayer, and I demand a return on my investment. This is my role as a citizen. Unfortunately, now I've been placed in the middle of all of the decision making, as I said to you, dear brother Nathan, and to the choppers, that I'm coming, as I have before, to these forums, to this platform, to talk about what it is that you all see, feel, and taste. It ain't gonna be easy. It's not. It's not. When people have power and control, hell, if I had power and control, yeah, it'll be a fight to get it. But that don't mean we don't fight, and that don't mean that we can't come up with strategies, things that we want to see collectively. We don't have to get on these forums and say, "Oh, she's wrong. That ain't gonna work." Come talk to me. Tell me what it is. I'll put you in the space. You go tell it. You go demand what it is that we want. But I do believe, dear brother, until we monolithically determine that we want to have our own force and that we're going to protect and serve one another, then we're going to have to continuously stay at these tables to make the systems begin to bend in our favor, because we do pay for them. We ain't asking nobody to give us nothing. We pay for these services. Just like you want your trash picked up and you don't want your garbage can in the middle of the street and trash all out in front of your house. Just like people call about potholes, the same thing. We want equity in the policing. We want transparency. We want policies to match discipline. We want to make sure that you don't get raises and promotions without our knowledge. But that takes the collective, not just a few. It takes us all to leave a serious footprint. So our children, and I don't know folk, who may not have them, but I have grandchildren now, and I don't want them fighting the same fight their grandma fought. I want to clear the path. So thank you, dear brother. Today at 4, y'all tune in. We've been doing it since 2020, so we can educate one another and we can stay on top of what we pay for. I appreciate
Thanks
you.
for the call. Take it easy.
Have a powerful day. Happy Black History Month. Make some. Be aware of some. Teach some. Love you. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate you. That's Sister Iris checking in. She was on one this morning, but I appreciate it. I think she said Daryl set her off. Okay, cool. I'm with it. So where are we at? We're at 9:41. Let me take a break. Took a break. I planned to take a break before I took her call. Let me take a break. All right. You'll hear from our sponsor. When we come back, I'm going to do 2 things. 3 things. I'm going to continue the conversation and read your comments in your chat and check in with my people on Spreaker. Good morning to you. And then I'm going to share with you my opinion of one of the best Black movies of all time. Plus, I'm going to tell you why. And then we're going to get into this CNN article about these new trends when it comes to dating, mating, and people getting married and people having sex. So we'll talk about that as well. Good morning to you. Thanks for being here. And don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
lay back and crack this window. I've been doing my best, taking a moment to rest, feeling stressed out. Give it a good, I put that on God when it gets hard. I stay on my job like no days off, so you can go forward with that mentality. Jump on, jealousy, my bad. Cause I've been working all day. Can a nigga catch a break? Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey. Already got the world on me. Give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter. I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey.
All right, good morning to you. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. Just a couple of minutes. Let's get back to it, shall we? Tap into the Sunday morning masterclass hosted by the Windburn on Sundays at 11:45 a.m. You can also go to their website, 3Ws.renewcommunitychurch.org, to download a free ebook and coaching. And their messages are all tailored to, give you tips and tools and strategies to live your best life. As a matter of fact, this Sunday's topic, live your best life. Learn how to be your best self. 11:45 a.m. on Facebook at facebook.com/CINCI Renew, on YouTube at Renew Community Church live stream. Let's get back into it. So let me give you an example of what I think is one of the best movies ever. I've spoken about this movie before, but this past week, I came across a news article that was done. It wasn't a news article. It was just a post that was done by, it was Black media. So it was the Griot. And because of Black History Month, it's, people put these lists together, and they were putting together like a list of like the best Black movies ever. And I was so pleased to see that one of the writers at the Griot is a very smart, intelligent person, because when they promoted this particular Black movie that I'm going to share with you in a minute, and it is a Black movie, even though there is a white director, which was a little bit of a controversy when the movie came out back in 2012, right? But I was shocked and relieved that I'm not alone in this. You know what I'm saying? I think this movie has been grossly under talked about and undervalued. And maybe again because, of the director, and there were some critiques about the usage of the N-word in the movie. But you tell me, one of the best movies, Black movies of all time, is because it has some interesting characters and some interesting narratives. And this movie came out in 2012, and it was directed by Quentin Tarantino. And the name of the movie is Django Unchained. I know you've seen Django, right? Oh, sure you have. Sure you have. This is one of the best movies, best Black movies of all time. Surely the best Black Western. It's what was a Western that just came out on Netflix with Idris Elba? That was good. That was good. Django's better. And the title character, the hero, is played by, this is certainly a Black movie, is played by Jamie Foxx, who is multi-talented. Didn't I see him doing Super Bowl commercials for like some gaming website or something? He was like in the middle of the field and flames and stuff was going off. Super talented. He can act, he can do comedy, he can do drama. He can do it all. He can sing. He can do it all. And this is one of the best Black movies of all time, with two very, very interesting things in it. Like, number one, I said this before, I'll say it again, but Sam Jackson he got played. His portrayal in this movie is one of the best acting jobs of all time. I don't care what anybody says, of all time. But because of the type of character, I felt like, the Academy and then critics, they didn't really want to give it the love, because it would expose the certain things that we feel uncomfortable about, when it comes to, our own society. But really what makes this movie so good to me, because I'm an action movie guy, growing up, seen lots of action movies. and many of them have similar themes. But there's one theme that I just have not seen enough of that's the action movie where the damsel in distress is a black woman. And that's what makes this movie different. This is a damsel in distress movie. And I think that these kind of movies, when you look at the sum total of like Americana, like, all the media we produce, it has an effect on you. Like, if people say rap music has an effect on you, then what we see in movies, because movies predate rap music, what we see in these movies, these television shows, years and years and years and years, it starts to leave an imprint on you. It leaves an impression. It leads you. People are very impressionable. And sometimes it's subliminal, it's deep. And in my opinion, if you look at the sum total of the movies and television shows, it creates narratives. And one narrative is the elevation of the white female, the value of the white female. You get that, 20, 30 years of action movies where the damsel in distress is always a white woman. On some level, it leaves an impression on you of her value in our culture. And that's why Django stands out to me, because it's a damsel in distress movie where the damsel is a black woman. And that's rare as hell. I'm struggling to think of any other movies like that. And I'm talking about where you've seen these movies, man, where the protagonist, typically a white dude, this man will walk through the gates of hell to get his woman back. He'll fight ninjas at the top of New York skyscrapers, 100 floors up. He will fight terrorists in a 747 jet. This motherfucker will go dig up Atlantis and fight terrorists underwater to save his woman, his white woman. And so, when I come across movies where there is a black damsel in distress and the hero is a black man, I like them. I like that kind of stuff. And if you've never seen Django, that's exactly what happens. And Jamie had to walk through the flaming pits of hell to save his woman, and he saves his woman. And along the way, you get some good acting too. Now, Quentin Tarantino directed it, and there's a lot of use of the N-word, and people got caught up. I mean, gosh darn it. It's just a damn movie. Look at the bigger picture here. And I'd like to know how many people agree with me on that. That movie was super dope. There is nothing in the world that he would not have done to save his black woman. We need more movies like that with big time stars. We need more. Now, most of these action movies, they don't got nothing like that. That's why I like the first Blade, because aside from the fact that but Wesley Snipes did a hell of a job, and people don't give Blade enough credit because that was really the first big Marvel movie. Blade is a Marvel comic book character. Now it's everywhere, but it was Blade that was first back in, what was it, like the early 2000s? That movie, super dope. The first one, classic, instant classic. And he saves a sister, a real sister. I like those kind of movies. You know what I'm saying? I'm into that, especially if everything else is good. That's what makes Django one of the best black movies of all time. Period. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Well, Quentin Tarantino directed it. Well, you know what? Spike should have did it. He didn't do it. So Quentin did it. It is what it is. And I had read that Will Smith turned down the Django character. He didn't want to play it. It was offered to him. And I'm glad, because Jamie did a better job. You know what I'm saying? Jamie did a better job. I mean, Will's a tremendous actor, but, you still see Will Smith. I mean, he's a great actor, but I just don't feel like Jamie was better. Jamie was better. Del Rey's, nah. I can think of other movies like Black Panther. Oh, my gosh. I thought I did a compelling argument. I thought I had a very compelling argument, but it's okay. Clarence writes, we still got a lot of Stevens around here, right? The character known as Steven, played by one of the greatest actors of all time, is one of the all-time greatest characters ever. One of the all-time greatest characters ever. He should have got an Academy for that, but they ain't want to give the brother his shine for what he was doing. Jenny writes, I've never seen Django Unchained. You've never seen Django? You got to watch Django. Got to see Django. It's extreme. It's adult. It's extreme. It's adult. It's a Western. But the primary narrative is this black man was trying to save his black woman. And answer me this, because I'm not saying there aren't even other movies like that, but is there another movie like that with that kind of narrative? Like with big time actors? Look at this. You got Leonardo DiCaprio in here. You got Jamie Foxx. You got Samuel L. Jackson, a whole lot of other people, right? You got big time Hollywood stars in here, white and black. So name for me a movie, an action movie, because there's a plethora of action movies, I'm sure. I'm sure there's something. But I don't come across movies like this too much. And that's what made Django so good. Everybody got caught up with the N-word. Who cares? Who cares? You know what I'm saying? That's what makes this movie so dope, because I like those kind of stories. We need more movies where we save the black woman and we legitimize saving the black woman and we elevate her to her proper place. You know what I'm saying? That's why I support the work of the folks over there, you know, here locally, just working to elevate and to normalize loving black women. We need to normalize saving black women. Again, that's what happens. If you sit back and look at most of the action movies, it's a white man saving a white woman. That's what it is. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And after 10, 15, 20 years of that, depending on your mentality, you can't tell me that's not going to have an effect on you, that on some levels, you know, the white woman is worthy of being saved, that she's valuable. She's valuable. And when you watch Django, the feeling you're going to get is that that black woman was valuable. She was valuable. And I loves that. We need more. And you come out with Django too. Dale writes, School Days is an underrated, one of the best. Somebody writes. Somebody writes, Will became Ali, bro. Nathan RT. Okay. TNT writes says, I said The Last Dragon. Okay. Last Dragon. Is that what Timac? Sam Jackson is one of my favorite actors, and since he never turns down a role, I have plenty others to choose from. The Wiz is one of the best. I'm just saying, name for me a black movie or an action movie where the hero is the black man and then he has to fight ninjas and sharkmen, hybrids, Nazis, aliens, devils, demons to save his woman. I mean, because I'm exaggerating, but if you look at some of these action movies, like some of the stuff they got to go through to get to the end to save the woman are utterly ridiculous. Literally, like they got to go to Atlantis and find a secret key that's really the shape of a fish horn. You got to blow the horn, and then a trap door on the ocean floor opens. You go through that. Now you're in the center of the earth dealing with metahumans. All this to save your woman, right? Oh, man, that's hilarious. I love that he was getting, hold on, what is this here? We need to normalize not only saving black women, but dark-skinned black women. Many are fair-skinned and multiracial. Dark-skinned black women are beautiful. I agree with you. Absolutely. Jamie Foxx starred in the movie Project Power to where he had to rescue his black daughter. I did see that. I don't remember everything about it, but I thought I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. One of my favorite movies is The Edge that you made uncomfortable, but he was not the regular ninja. Acting was excellent from everyone. I have watched the movie so many times. Is that right? Okay. I see we're about 3 minutes away. I did want to touch this CNN story, but I think I'll save it. Because I want to talk about this. And somebody sent me a link, and we just had Sister Iris on, right? So here's what's going on right now about Sister Iris. So Dan Hills posted in the Support the Blue Cincy. I wonder if I put this up. Can you see this? Matter of fact, I might be able to, because I think I'm in that group or I was in the group or something. They tried to put me out in the group. A black man tried to out me. He thought he was trying to out me, but we don't give a damn about stuff like that. Hold on one second here. I want to go to the support the blue Cincy Facebook group, because the sister Irishes took this consulting gig, which makes perfect sense, right? Who better in the city of Cincinnati to lead that project than the person that created the job and knows the most about it than anybody else? It's just a no-brainer to me. Okay, so she's got this new position working with the AFTAP administration, which I think is a good look all the way around because it just makes sense. He posted this on February 16th. Check this out, family. Hold on, I'm gonna screenshot this. You can check it out for yourself. And apparently, it's like he's putting a target on her back. Okay, that's what it seemed like to me. So this is, can you see that? Yeah, y'all can see that. And you can see me too. Okay, great. Let's just put that up there. All right. I'm gonna take the chat off for a second so we can see bigger. Okay, this is support the Blue Cincy, and it's a lot of people in here that support police officers, family members, politicians, a whole bunch of people in here. I don't know if I'm a member of this group or it's just public, but anyway, Dan Hills, who's the FOP president, he goes on here to rant and to get reinforcement. And he posted this about Iris Rowley, who we just spent some time talking with. She one of the choppers. The city of Cincinnati just hired Miss Iris Rowley as a collaborative coordinator. I am not sure what this is or what the duties are, but I doubt she is qualified for anything with the word collaborative attached. She is in this video accusing Cincinnati police officers of multiple murders. I do admit when I was wrong. I thought AFTAB was going to govern us as a moderate. I was wrong. This is an extreme move by an anti-police radical. We now have a West Coast-like mayor, but we still have the Midwest winters. Yuck. So this is what Dan Hills is wild for that. So he putting a target on Sister Iris's back and also taking out AFTAB Purevar at the same time. And I'm like, that's responsible leadership. That is so irresponsible. But, he must be getting positive reinforcement. Somebody must like it. It makes them feel like it's us against them. See, it's those kind of people working within the police force that need to be rooted out. Because there's nothing about that statement that's conducive to anything positive. And he admits he don't even know what the collaborative coordinator job is. So shouldn't you be held accountable to a higher standard? I looked at some of the comments, and most of it is just like, somebody writes, this is unfortunate as Iris Rowley is so obviously biased against police that she is not capable of being fair. And I just don't think that's true. I think we all have our bias. I'm sure she has her bias and all that stuff. But, I mean, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And when you're right, you're right. And it is what it is. But this is that old Cincinnati. This is like part of Cincinnati that prevents us from moving forward, in our opinion. But it is what it is. Look up the mayor's new chief of staff. So I know the mayor's new chief of staff. I'm friendly with her. Her name is Kazalia's sister. All right. She helped him during the election. She got a gig in his administration. That's how it works. Somebody is on here saying, look up the mayor's new chief of staff. Why? What's the mayor's new chief of staff have to do with this? I'll tell you what it is. She's a black woman. That's what it is. She's a black woman. They wild, boy. They is wild in Cincinnati. They is wild. The mayor is a joke. She'll push for a soft on crime police chief. Why do people think that just because you want to hold police accountable when they brutalize citizens, that means that you want somebody who's soft on crime? I don't want somebody that's soft on crime. That sounds like a oxymoronic. That ain't the point. I just want you to focus on the most heinous crimes, the real crimes. He is a Soros-backed outsider. Why would anybody vote for him is beyond me, I think, speaking of AFTAB Purevar. So some hilarity. So if you want to get a laugh in the day, you can go to support the Blue and Cincy and get a laugh in. They wild in there. Listen, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever with you on Monday morning, bright and early. Over the weekend, you got Straight Talk Live. 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. The lovely ladies, Melody Insights, will be back at 5:30 p.m. Britt and Cass. Even though I'm mad at Cass right now, hating on them Bengals. We lost because of Cass. Not really. But that's 5:30 p.m. for Melody Insights. Check them out. Help us grow our platform. You want to connect with me? I'm highly accessible. Just hit me up with a message. Direct message. That's super, super great. Planning on speaking with a Black CPA on Sunday as we flesh out this process of starting an investment club. If you're interested, all you have to do is email me, nathans.flow at gmail.com, nathans.flow with an S at gmail.com. And in the subject line, just put investment. That way I know what you're talking about. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever, as I said, on Monday. Until then, take care of yourself, and I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss.